The atmosphere was thick with intensity at the Kansas City Chiefs practice facility today. Players moved with a mixture of focus and unease, their usual camaraderie replaced by a subtle tension that hung in the air like a storm cloud. Whispers floated around the field as eyes darted between teammates, each trying to gauge what might happen next. Andy Reid, the legendary coach known for his calm demeanor and methodical approach, was clearly not in the mood for any nonsense. The practice sessions started off well enough, but as drills progressed, a few mistakes began to pile up. Missed assignments, sloppy routes, and a general lack of discipline tested Reid's patience. Today, we're going to talk about what happened in the last game of the regular season. The Chiefs rested their stars, and the Broncos didn't forgive them. It was a heavy defeat, 38-0. But wait, this strategy might have been a smart move for the playoffs. Was it really? Resting starters in a game where nothing was at stake is a common practice, but such a crushing score raises questions. Does this expose issues that could hurt us in the postseason? Or are we just staying focused on the big prize, the Super Bowl? Passionate Chiefs fans, it's time to break down the game and understand the reasons behind this decision. Let's talk about the context, the Broncos' highlights, and what this means for our team. By the time they reached the team scrimmage, Reid's frustration was palpable. Then it happened. A missed block led to a blown play, and before anyone could catch their breath, Coach Reid stormed into the center of the field. His booming voice cut through the crisp winter air like a thunderclap. "Enough," he barked, silencing the field. All eyes snapped to the towering figure, clipboard in hand, his face flushed with uncharacteristic anger. "This is not how champions practice. If you want to play like that, there's the door. Get ready. This conversation is going to heat up." Understanding the scenario, the Chiefs finished the regular season with an incredible 15-2 record and had already secured the top seed in the AFC. That means a bye in the first round of the playoffs and home field advantage until the Super Bowl. In other words, there was nothing to gain in this game against the Broncos. As a result, Coach Andy Reid opted to rest his stars. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and other starters watched the game from the bench. The offensive responsibility fell on Carson Wentz, while the defense relied on several reserve players. It was a strategy that seemed logical given the circumstances. On the other side, the Broncos had a lot at stake. They needed the win to secure their first trip to the playoffs since 2016. There was no shortage of motivation and intensity from the Denver team, who played as if their lives depended on it, and they did. Breaking down the game, the big question is, was resting the starters really the best choice, or did it expose the weaknesses of the reserve squad too much? Let's look at how the game unfolded to answer that. The Broncos came out swinging, led by rookie sensation B. Nix. Denver's offense wasted no time. On the first drive, Nix found Marvin Mims for a 32-yard pass, opening the scoring with authority. That first touchdown was just the beginning. Nix showed why he's one of the favorites to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He ran the offense with precision, distributing the ball to various receivers and exploiting every gap in the Chiefs' backup defense. Denver was relentless in the first half, and it showed on the scoreboard. With every play, the young quarterback's confidence grew, and the Chiefs' defense seemed to have no answers. The reserve team simply couldn't hold off the momentum of an opponent playing with everything on the line. If there was one name that shone in this game, it was B. Nix. The rookie completed an impressive 321 yards and 4 touchdowns. His second touchdown, a perfect pass to Jerry Jeudy on a crossing route, left the defense stunned. Nix demonstrated maturity beyond his experience, solidifying his status as one of the league's most exciting prospects. Meanwhile, Denver's ground game complemented Nix's efforts, keeping the Chiefs' defense under constant pressure. Halftime woes. By halftime, the Broncos led 24-0. The Chiefs' backup defense looked completely overwhelmed, while the offense, led by Carson Wentz, failed to find rhythm. Wentz's performance was lackluster, with offensive connections failing to flow from the start. Broncos coach Sean Payton made brilliant adjustments, keeping the offense fluid and capitalizing on the Chiefs' defensive weaknesses. Every play seemed calculated for maximum impact. Second half dominance. The second half began as a continuation of the Broncos' dominance. Nix led 2 more surgical drives that ended in touchdowns, bringing the score to 38-0. With the game decided, Nix was pulled to avoid injury, but Denver's reserves maintained control. Kansas City, they're here to compete. What's next for the Chiefs? This crushing loss left doubts about the Chiefs' readiness for the postseason. Can they regain their competitive rhythm in time for the divisional round? For the Broncos, this win wasn't just a milestone, it was a statement. They clinched the 7th seed in the playoffs, ending a 7-year drought. The victory also eliminated the Miami Dolphins and Cincinnati Bengals from playoff contention, creating an exciting scenario in the AFC. The Broncos now face the Buffalo Bills in the wildcard round, while the Chiefs rest and prepare for the divisional round. Will the Broncos' momentum carry them through the playoffs, or will elite teams prove too much? One thing is certain, the fight is just beginning. Making progress was nearly impossible for the Chiefs as Denver's defensive line dominated the game, recording multiple sacks and key tackles. The secondary also stepped up, nullifying any threat of explosive plays. Even with talented receivers available, the Chiefs' backup struggled to establish effective connections. That combination of relentless pressure and tight coverage proved lethal for Kansas City. With such a solid defense, the Broncos gained even more confidence heading into the playoffs. They've demonstrated their ability to compete on both sides of the ball, which will be crucial against tough opponents like the Buffalo Bills. Reflecting on the Chiefs' strategy now, let's take a closer look at our side. The Chiefs entered the game with a preserve strength mentality, but was it worth it? The performance of the reserves raised questions about the depth of our squad. Carson Wentz, stepping in as quarterback, performed below expectations. He struggled to move the offense consistently, and the lack of chemistry was evident throughout the game. This matchup served as a test for the secondary players, and unfortunately many failed to rise to the occasion. On defense, the absence of several starters exposed vulnerabilities. The reserves couldn't contain Denver's dynamic offense, which is concerning given the unpredictability of injuries in the playoffs. Every player needs to be ready to contribute. On the bright side, this loss doesn't directly impact the Chiefs' postseason plans. With Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and other key players returning, the team has everything it needs to regain the rhythm that secured the AFC's top seed. But the real question is, will that confidence be enough? Was resting the starters a smart move? This is the big debate. On one hand, preserving key players like Mahomes and Kelce makes perfect sense. They're the backbone of the team, and an extra week of rest could be a game changer in the playoffs. On the other hand, the game highlighted our dependence on these stars. Without them, the offense looked unrecognizable, and the defense struggled to maintain balance. This raises concerns about the team's ability to adapt in adverse situations. This isn't a new discussion. Teams like the Chiefs have used this strategy before, and more often than not, it works. The problem is when the result is so lopsided that it impacts team morale and gives opponents a psychological edge. For example, in 2020, the Chiefs rested their starters before the playoffs and went on to win the Super Bowl. However, that game didn't end in such a blowout. When a team loses 38-0, it can send the wrong message. Opponents might interpret it as a sign of weakness. Maintaining momentum, there's also the argument for keeping starters in to maintain momentum. Many coaches believe that losing the rhythm of competition can harm a team in the playoffs. For the Chiefs, the decision was to rest and trust in their preparation to resume their high level of play. It's a fine line between preserving players and keeping the team competitive. For us fans, all we can do is trust Andy Reid and his coaching staff, who have plenty of experience in situations like this. Eyes on the playoffs, with the regular season behind us, all focus shifts to the playoffs. The Chiefs have the advantage of a bye week to fine-tune their roster and recharge. This extra rest could be pivotal, especially in such a competitive postseason. The main question now is how the team will respond after such a heavy loss. We know Mahomes and Kelce are masters at leading through adversity. Their connection is the lifeblood of this team, and it's time to prove why we're still the team to beat in the AFC. Andy Reid's playoff experience is in Denver, brimming with confidence after their blowout win, will face a tough challenge against Josh Allen and the Bills, one of the league's most formidable offensive forces. The Chiefs, on the other hand, await their divisional round opponent. Depending on the wildcard results, we could face any of the remaining qualifiers. Regardless of who it is, the playoffs leave no room for error. The good news? The Chiefs have an incredible playoff track record. With Mahomes at the helm, we've proven time and again that we can overcome any challenge. This extra time off gives us an opportunity to fine-tune our game even further. The road to the Super Bowl is never easy, but the Chiefs have everything they need to get there once again. The key will be staying focused, leveraging our experience, and playing with the passion that defines this team. Join the conversation now. Fans, I want to hear from you. What do you think of the strategy to rest the starters? Was it a smart move, or could it hurt the team's rhythm heading into the playoffs? Comment below and share your thoughts. Also, who do you think will be the Chiefs' biggest challenge in the playoffs? Will the Buffalo Bills continue to be the biggest threat, or could a surprise team emerge as a contender in the AFC? Let's debate, because the next few games promise to be thrilling. What did you think of B. Nick's performance? The Broncos rookie is making waves, and we have to admit the kid played great. Do you think he'll be a deciding factor in the playoffs, or will he feel the pressure in Buffalo? Leave your comments, share your opinions, and let's build this conversation together. After all, we're all part of Chiefs Nation, and your voice makes all the difference. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like to support the channel and help spread our passion for the Chiefs. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any updates.